Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those that you are new around here, my name's Alex. I'm the founder of the Essex Allotment farm, for which in its most is a 4 seasons market garden that supplies organic vegetables direct to end consumer through veg box services and farmers markets. Those of you who have followed my journey will know that I also do some consultancy work, and the exciting new project that I'm on here at the Tin Roof Cafe in Malden is where I'm at today, and that's what we're going to do. So it's the first time since it's opened that we're going to have a catch up and see how the vegetable growing spaces are moving forward, or how they've moved forward over the next month or the last month or so. So I'll stop waffling, I'll spit it out, I'll put my tooth back in, and we'll crack on with a look round. One thing I will say is I was been on holiday for the last 2 weeks in Portugal, and it's been like 25 plus, and I've visited some great markets and stuff like that. And yesterday, although the sun's out now, it's extremely windy. And yesterday, when I first came back to this site after my 2 weeks away, it was brutal. It was ice cold. The rain was coming down. The wind was at 20 mile an hour, gusting up to 40, and it was crazy. So with all that and the weather that we've been having in the southeast over the last few weeks, I'm really pleased with how things have been coming on. So we're going to start here in the polytunnels, which is the stuff that's been in the longest, and then I'm going to show you all the exciting stuff that we've planted outside, and we've even got some crops ready to harvest. So those of you that have watched a couple of these updates before will know that this is the polytunnel that we've got some crops in. These are catch crops, and they will be out the way in time for tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, aubergines and things like that, which we will be planting out in the next week or so, weather dependent. But they have been a great test for the soil. They've helped us learn about the growing space in these new polytunnels, and they've produced some vegetables. So let's go and have a closer look. In this row here, we've got some kohlrabi all growing at completely different rates. And this is what I mean about helping us understand the polytunnel. So I think some of the middle sections here are holding too much water because there's a bit of a dip. And I also think that it's much warmer in the very center of the polytunnel because it's not near the two doors. At the far end here we've got a single door, and back here behind me we've got a double door. And these plants, well, every variety of plants that's in this area is actually grown much leafier and much quicker than plants that were sown and planted at exactly the same time, just a bit further down. So I'm racking my brains to try and understand why that is. However, when I've come to a conclusion, we'll jump back towards that. And if you have got any ideas, give me a shout in the comments below. It could be anything from soil. This is all brand new soil that we've shipped in, to temperatures and growing conditions. But anyway, these are the kohlrabi. If you look at this one, it's just starting to bulb up. So in a few weeks' time, we'll start harvesting kohlrabi. Looks like my lettuce needs a little bit of water. However, down here, we've got a green oak leaf lettuce variety that is ready to harvest, which looks great. Next to it, these beauties are, what are they? Snowball turnips. There we go, I got it out in the end. And again, like before, if you look right down here through this jungle, we've got bulbing up snowball turnips that are ready to harvest. And on the other two rows, well, so the other row, we've got more turnips here that aren't so leafy and aren't so far on, but again sown and planted at the same time. And we've got some radish along this row here that we have been harvesting. This last row is all radish, and unfortunately some of it started to bolt now because the temperature in the polytunnel is too hot for radish now with the sunshine. But yeah, this sort of area in the middle that seems to hold a little bit more water is at a bit more slow progress, but it is still all growing. So this is one of the slowest areas for those lettuce, oak leaf lettuce, one of the slowest areas for the snowball multi-sown turnips. We've still had radish from this area. And the kohlrabi are doing okay, but nowhere near as good as the ones behind. And so I've jumped to the other side, and we've got more kohlrabi over the far end here. Again, differing paces in how quickly it's grown. We've got more snowball turnips, which again look great. and should start bulbing up. And then we've got this 2 rows of spinach, which again is ready to harvest. And again, I think we'll only get maybe 1 or 2 harvests off this before it bolts, because it's very, very warm in here. However, that was the old idea. This wasn't necessarily for loads and loads of food. This was designed to give us an indication about the sowing conditions and help us learn before we put some of our really high value crops in here, like tomatoes, cucumbers, aubergine, peppers, etc., etc. So that's the polytunnel. So I am still just stood in the polytunnel, and we're going to have a look at all these beds, because this one here on the left is fully planted out. This one here on the right is not far behind, and we've got some crops in the one down the bottom there. However, it's super, super windy today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some video and voice over it for you, and I hope that's okay. The viewing experience will be a hell of a lot better than me trying to navigate the wind, even with this trusty mic I've got. Why we are up here, we'll just have a little update on the strawberries. If you remember, I was given some bare rootstock from RW Walpole. These have taken lovely and are growing nicely in these tiny little beds in between the polytunnels. We're in the top bed on the left as you look at the polytunnels, and we've got chard, spring onions, some beetroot, some more spinach, lots of different spring onions planted out in this bed, as well as a little bit of lettuce. You can hardly see any of it. They've only been planted out in the last couple of days, and they are really, really, really small, but they are surviving. And because the pest pressure and everything is quite low, we're not having to cover anything as of yet. Secondly, we've created this pea structure where we're growing sugar bond, sugar snack peas. Again, they were planted out maybe 2 weeks ago now, just before my holiday, and they are looking great. They've established now and starting to put on more growth. We've got the garlic, which was the first thing that we planted out in these beds in November, and some of it's looking great, some of it's looking not so great. This is the good stuff. And then a little catch crop of radish here in this space. So this top bed's going quite well. We've had a little bit of patchiness with the garlic, but other than that, it's fine. In this bed, this is the one that's now fully planted out, and most of this bed is lettuce. So again, we've got some garlic. This is the stuff that's not done so great. Lots of different varieties. We've got a catch crop of turnips, and then, as I said, we've got lots of lettuce in here. This is a red oak leaf type lettuce. We've got some beetroots in here. Sorry, beet leaf in here as well. So we should have sort of beetroot leaf to add to the lettuces. But there's 5 different lettuce varieties in this bed in total. And then, if you can see, but it is quite hard, in between some of these red lettuces, we've put spring onions again, just to take advantage of the space. Before we get to the broad beans, which have been a bit of a disaster, we have actually got some purple sprouting broccoli in. So yeah, these are the broad beans, and they've started to put on flower. They're panicking, and effectively, we planted these out probably 6 weeks ago now, and they've just been absolutely battered by the weather. They've had no more than 3 or 4 sunny days in the last 6 weeks, and I think it's starting to take its toll. There's lots of great fresh growth on them, but they're just tired and battered. So hopefully, with an improvement in weather, they'll get a bit better. I've shot down to these little tubs. We'll be growing mint in these containers, just to make sure that we don't have a mint issue and it taking over the whole thing. So there's a few of these containers dotted around, and we've put different cultivars of mint in. The bottom bed, of which only one of them's got really anything on, we've got some more spinach, some more spring onions, leek, and beetroot. Again, we're not really covering it. This is a red variety, a mustard style leaf, but because of the light and how small the plants are, they've only been out a few days in the beds, and you can't really see them very well, but that's what's in these larger beds here. Some of the rows are a little bit wonky. We're still training the staff, so there's some teething problems, but that's just aesthetics. The crops in here should be absolutely fine. In these 2 beds down here, and I haven't really shown you these in detail, we've actually got 22 fig trees. So all these, with the supports attached to them, are going to create
sort of fig, I don't know, fences, bushes, I guess, as and when they go, and we trail them across. Yeah, I'm having to do voiceover, just forgive me when it's overlapping, but we've just ducked down through the car park to that was the entrance of the cafe site. When there is actually some decent weather, there'll be some seating areas out here, and people will be able to watch us work away in the greenhouse and ask us questions, etc., etc. Again, we're using some of the nice planters that the owners bought to take advantage of growing herbs in them and offer this experience. So we'll jump into the greenhouse, but before we do, we'll just have a look at the Taunton Dean perennial kale that we took from a cut-in from one of my plants at the farm, that's just living out here and getting used to the weather without getting too battered by the wind. I think there is one damaged leaf, but with the amount of 40-mile-an-hour winds we've had, that's not too bad. So yeah, let's jump in the greenhouse.
Okay, so I've brought you back in the greenhouse, and because we're shut from the wind here, I can switch back to talk to you guys, which is great because that's the bit I enjoy doing. I'm going to do a full update on all my plants in the greenhouse in a separate video, but I will sort of say that the germination and the learning from the greenhouse is going really well. We're averaging temperatures of around 25 during the day, using a little bit of the heat to keep it around 10 degrees overnight, which is really aiding germination for everything and the maintenance of the baby plants. So as I said, we'll jump in and show you some of the highlights, but I'll do a full walk round of this in a future video. So we'll start off with these aubergines. These were really brought into the greenhouse probably a little bit too early. So they are a little bit behind, but they look super healthy and they've recovered really well. And as I alluded to in other videos, I've oversown on lots of things, so I was able to pick some of the stronger ones to sort of pot on and grow on, and sacrifice a few of the ones that didn't do so well, but we've still got plenty of aubergines, all at different stages, but these ones here at the front are the ones that have recovered the best. If I move you on to a little bit further around, you can see, again, we'll go through this in detail, we're still germinating underneath and bringing up to the top for light as and when they need it, but things are going really well. So yeah, just to pick out things, we've got more mustard, red frills mustard. What else is going well? We got leeks over here, spring onions on the left, leeks over in the corner, and then we start bringing on some of the high value crops. So these are the first tomato plants that we've sown, probably a little bit further behind a lot of people out there. But again, we're going for the safe option. So we sowed them a little bit later off the back of the feedback that the aubergines gave us about the temperatures in here. And then we've got lots more tomatoes germinating at different stages here. And then the best sort of germination that we've had is on these cucumbers. I'll just get the camera right. These look really great. They're a cucumber variety called Burplus. Is that right? Burplus F1. So they look super healthy and are doing really well. We've got the comms board that I use to communicate to the team when I'm not here. We've got the usual technology side of that as well through WhatsApp, but we're storing some of the spare houseplants in here still at the moment. We've got our half trays where full rows are planted, and these are kept for a little while in case anything doesn't survive outside and needs replacing. Lots of different things. So this one is a red velvet, germinated. That was sown on the 9th. So we've got good germination on that. There's only a couple of cells without them. So yeah, lots going on in here. I'm really pleased with the progress. This is the area that we've been working in the longest. So we've kind of got used to the conditions and the growing space, and it's going really well. Okay, so we are really, really busy, and this might have been a quick update. I'll try and do some more detail and a bit more sort of professional looking videos, I guess, in the future when things calm down. But the garden is go this time of year. We're obviously fighting the elements with the weather not being great. But I hope you enjoyed this quick video. I hope it gives you enough of an update to keep interested, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.